I hope you're enjoying the Texas Cowpuncher series, and we've got two cowpunchers that I'm bringing you today, good friends of mine, Mr. Zane Herrin and Mr. Zack Peters. These guys met while they were down in South Texas, and we're going to tell some of those stories where the cattle are wild and the people are wild as well on the bottom side of the state. Then we'll move up to the Panhandle, where they work on the 4-6's ranch. Matter of fact, some of the beef that we've ranched on, Zayn, Zack, and myself, you have access to through 46essteak.com. For a limited time, use code DALE and get 15% off on orders over $50. Now through the end of August. I got a link below. You can click it. But go to 46essteak.com and use code DALE. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this episode, Texas Cowpunchers of the Rodeo Time podcast. I'm Dale Brisby. Let's hear more. Yeah, that's right. We're going to go down to shoot number 3 and 4. Well, 2 and 3. I'm shoot number 1 all the time because Dale Brisby's number 1. But shoot number 2, we've got Zane Herrin. Shoot number 3, we've got Zack Peters. But that's just because we're left or right. If we're going off of height, Zach's got
definitely it's not
1.
fair.
They don't have a number for you.
No, it's you. I'm normal.
How tall are you, Zack?
6'5".
No.
6'5"?
Yes,
No.
here we go.
He's
Yes.
6'7".
I have to do this all the time.
Every bit of it.
I have to go get a tape measure and measure myself to prove that I'm 6'5", because nobody believes I'm
It's
6'5".
at least 6.5 feet.
Zane, into the mic, please.
At least 6.5 feet.
Why not just let him think 6'7"? That's still pretty tall. I mean, or you just think that's too tall?
It's too tall.
That's too tall. Yeah. Did you play basketball?
Oh, yeah.
Were you like really good?
I started.
Could you could you dunk?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't have to jump.
Yeah, I could stand flat-footed. And one time when we played Idaloo, it was a district game. I dunked on them 4 times in one game.
Dang.
That was the most I ever dunked in a game.
I thought you weren't allowed to dunk in high school basketball.
What?
They changed it after I got there.
Oh, you're the reason they
Yeah,
changed it.
it
Like
was-
Ricky Green in the Crossfire.
Wait, you're really not allowed to?
I thought you weren't supposed to. Or maybe it's just like in warm-ups. Like
You can't in warm-ups.
they
When the
get
refs
mad, yeah.
come out, you blow the whistle, and then you have to stop.
What? Where'd you go to school?
New deal.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember now.
That's where I graduated.
Yeah. Yeah, I went. Anyway, it's not about me. I love basketball, by the way. I love watching it. That's like a deep track on Dale Brisby. I sucked at it in high school, but I could watch it all day. We got to get through this. The playoffs are going on right now, so.
March Madness is over. I ain't worried about it.
Playoffs? Playoffs? Did you play any sports in high school?
I played football my freshman year. Made varsity and like broke my elbow like bad. They had to like reconstruct it. Tried again my sophomore year. Broke my foot, so I retired from that. But I played baseball a lot growing up. I tried to play college baseball.
Gotcha.
The elbow injury just didn't let me be much better than a decent 2A catcher.
I got to go back to the beginning. We have in the house Zane Herrin and Zack Peters. Zane has a brother named Zack. Zack has a brother named Zane, and they're not brothers.
But we have the same middle name.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, you
have the same
do?
middle name.
What is it?
William.
Willie?
William.
William.
Yeah.
We should call each of you versions of Willie.
Willie. Like
One of you can
Bill.
be Slick Willie,
Oh.
and then the other one can be Big Willie. I don't know. Something.
I'll be Big Willie.
Yeah.
You want to be Big Willie? I'll let you be Big Willie.
Big Willie and Slick Willie. That's awesome. You guys were meant to be. Were you buddies before you worked here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we met in South Texas.
Yeah. You're from kind of South Texas, aren't you?
Not even.
Okay. So what?
I just stayed there a long time.
Yeah, but you're kind of tan.
Yeah, and hablo español.
And you understand English,
I understand English, yeah.
but you're. How do you? Is there a right and a wrong way to ask this?
Am I Hispanic?
Are you a gringo?
Yeah.
You're a gringo,
as far as I
though.
know.
You're just a tan gringo. Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't know if Herrin was...
Herrin? You got to roll the R's and not pronounce the H.
See, I knew you could speak Spanish.
Sí, un poco.
Yeah. What's the correct way to terminology to ask someone their ethnicity in 2025?
I don't think you can.
You can't? You can't even ask somebody?
I don't think so.
We're just supposed to act like we're all the same?
Yeah.
Would you like a ranch fuel?
Are they cold?
No. They're very warm.
I'll try one.
The first one's free. The second one you're going to have to buy on ranchfuel.com and use code DALE for 15% off. No, I'm just kidding. I'll give you more than one free.
What's the twist in mango twist?
Ooh, you don't want to know. No, I'm just kidding. There's only 5 ingredients. I don't know. It's probably not that much of a twist.
I'm going to try the orange.
These are Cowboy Cold.
Look out.
And that's the back seat of a tinted window Ford pickup in early May, Texas Panhandle. So
Not even May.
Is it not? I'm so ahead of the game.
You mean
It's early May for me. So
That's
what took
good.
you down to South Texas?
Oh, like the full long story.
Yeah, where'd you say you're from? Where'd you grow up?
Just south of Big Spring, which
Yeah.
is kind of like West Texas. I mean, like Permian Basin.
I don't think it's like West Texas. I think
patch.
that's West Texas.
Thank you.
Big Spring is...
We'd like to claim West Texas.
See, I claim West Texas in Young County because the Snapchat filter comes across as West Texas.
Really?
But you're not like West Texas. You are.
Thank you. No, I grew up there. The long story is I went to college at Tarleton, and part of the requirements to graduate, you had to have an internship. And so I went ahead and knocked my internship out first summer and was like, man, this is kind of cool. Just like learning from different ranches and like going to a different part of the world. Like my first one was in Cisco, and that was like cool. Like I got to meet a cool guy, and like they raised deer, and I'm glad I went because I like found out like don't want to raise deer,
Right.
like pen raised, you know.
Yeah.
But I just kept like wanting to do these summer internships to get experience and build my network and all that. And the second summer I ended up going to like a yearling quail wildlife type ranch in South Texas and met a bunch
How big
of
do
people.
yearling quail get?
Yearling quail.
Oh, okay.
A lot of like Mexican yearlings is what they were, but pen raised birds, native birds.
So you didn't like the pen raised deer, but you don't mind the pen raised birds.
I don't like pen raised birds either.
Oh, okay, so you don't like those either. You don't like anything in a pen.
No,
You're a wild man.
that's right. which is like pretty cool about South Texas because it's wild. Like cattle were pretty wild down there. But I met some people that second summer and then ended up getting another internship south of the same town the next summer, and it was with the East Foundation, and that's a unique deal. But I got really close with the ranch manager there. His name's Gilly Riojas, and Gilly's deal with the cattle industry was he was super invested in young people and like developing the next generation. And for some reason he saw something in me and he wanted to
Who knows what that was?
put his time in me. I don't.
Yeah.
We're just a bunch of deadbeats. That's what he'd call us. But I was his first intern there at East. He hadn't been there very long. And I had an awesome summer there. I mean, that place was wild.
Really?
It wasn't as wild as like a few years before, but I got to see some really cool stuff. And
How was it wild?
just big country. They just started building fences across it. So like the East, it's the East Foundation named after the East family. And it was like Robert Claude East and his mom and his sister ranched like 225,000 acres just as a family, and they had a lot of employees from Mexico hired, and their business model for their cattle operations was forget about them, gather them twice a year, And this was towards the end. They'd gather them twice a year with a helicopter. Bulls were out year round. Whatever you pinned, like if the calves were over 300 pounds, like sell the calves. But like you'd have like big.
So they just kind of gate cut what they're going to wean?
Yeah.
I mean, what they're going to sell?
Like, and Zach seen the pins. I mean, when he was at King Ranch, but like their pins, like they have a centrally located jam pin with a snake. And at the end of the snake, you had a stop gate and like a little catwalk balcony thing where the guy would sit up there.
Oh, okay.
You'd sit in a seat and he had all these handles and you could cut like 5 to 7 ways.
He had a whole bunch of sorting gates.
Oh, that's way more sophisticated than what I was thinking.
Oh, but they're built to have like 60 guys there because they had a whole bunch of like back in the day, a bunch of illegal guys that worked there, and like they could have 2 guys on this gate in the jam pen and like 3 guys on that gate and like 8 people running the snake.
Yeah.
And so like when I got to East as an intern, like we would gather cows. So say like the helicopters flew like Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday we would start working them. And so like the first thing we did was we just sort everything. And like when I got there, we had a cut for like, sure enough, weaned calves that were like 500 to 700 pounds. We had a cut for packer cows and bulls, so like big maverick bulls, like barren cows. We had the baby calves that we had to work, the good cows, and then the breeding bulls. So we could like start testing them.
That's a lot of cuts.
Lots of cuts, and it took a lot of time because they didn't flow very good.
Yeah, and then, I mean, it could be one of each of those cuts right in line. Like you got to look at every single animal. That's wild.
Yeah.
So it took all day.
It took all day to sort them, and then you may haul some of them. But then, like the next day, first thing in the morning, you may try to start branding. But like when I got there, they didn't want to spend the time to drag the heifers because we didn't have to brand them, because when we weaned them, we'll probably brand them anyways. And so we would get in there afoot. We'd bring all the baby calves back around into the jam pen to run them in the snake afoot. And as we're sorting steer heifer, they would be given shots, so that all we had to do was drag the bull calves. But like that took half a day. And so a lot of times we'd eat lunch and then start dragging calves. And this would be like May, June, July in South Texas.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a miracle. Like those cattle were tough. Like it's crazy we didn't like kill a bunch of baby calves.
Was it super humid?
Yeah. Not as humid. So like where East was in Herrinville is like on the west side of South Texas. So like two hours west of the coast. Okay. So it wasn't like the 100%.
Yeah, you bet.
But compared to Panhandle, Texas, oh yeah, it's humid.
Yeah.
Yeah, really humid.
Like you want the wind to blow down there.
So where you were at the King Ranch, it was humid.
Oh yeah, I was on the coast.
Where'd you go after high school?
Where did I go?
Yeah.
Paducah. I went to the Y Ranch.
The what ranch?
Y.
Gotcha.
There in Paducah for a little bit.
How'd you end up down at? Well, wait. You went through TCU, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Ranch management.
Yeah, later, after several years after high school.
Okay.
Ended up going. Yeah.
Which they kind of want you to do that anyway, I think.
Yeah, get some real world experience because I didn't have any book knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't go to college before then.
So at what point did you end up down south?
I think it was 2 years, year and a half after school. I went down there because I got when Dennis Braden was at Swenson's. I knew him pretty good, and his son Tyler was cattle manager at King Ranch. And so Dennis called me and was like, hey, Tyler needs somebody for a unit manager on Lorellis. And then so I called Tyler and we talked, and that's how I ended up down there. Through Dennis, I guess.
Is a unit manager kind of like a camper? Or what's that?
No, it's almost assistant manager and like a wagon boss. Like kind of right in the, I think you do both, I think. Because there's more to it than just a wagon boss, but there's not as much as like an assistant manager. You kind of play both roles. I think that's the best way to describe it, don't you?
Yeah, so like, just for comparison's sake, so King Ranch has 4 divisions, 4 ranches that are separated by highways or small ranches or whatever. So like we have Guthrie, we have Dixon Creek. King Ranch but their divisions are, I mean, a lot bigger. So like, say, one division would have 400,000 acres. They would have 2 unit managers. They would have a division manager and 2 unit managers. The unit manager might have 200,000 each and a handful of cowboys underneath them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because the place I was on Lorelis, there was 2 divisions, like Zane said, and then my side of the ranch was not quite 100,000 acres, just what I took care of.
Gotcha.
And then the other half was.
So you had
over
campers
100.
on that?
Yeah, I had 2 guys under me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what's different about South Texas is like there's no camps.
Yeah. No.
You have a headquarters for the division or the ranch, and everybody lives there. It's like
You just got to drive that far every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, they call it colony at King Ranch. They call them colonies.
yeah, yeah, like little communities.
What's the stocking rate like out there?
It was like 1 to
Depends.
30.
Take
So,
30 acres.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
There's some really good ranch country down there. Like at East, it just depended. So like the real sandy country, it was real finicky. I mean, when it was raining, it was great, and it was the first to dry up. And it was terrible in the winter, and like you could stock it like 60 to 100, but then it's backwards to what you'd think. But like in the tighter soil, where it was real brushy, and there's a grass down there called buffalo grass, and then like guinea grass too. When you have that, like you could be 25, 30.
Nice.
Be pretty good, really.
But y'all didn't run your cows like he was describing east, though, huh? Or were there?
Those herds were already set up?
Yeah,
pretty
ours
good.
were already set up fairly
have some
decent. We would
Maverick
still have some Mavericks and 4 or 5-year-old Maverick bulls and stuff.
45-year-old Maverick bulls.
4 to 5.
Wow. How do y'all get them to live so long down there?
Longevity down there is
Inbreeding.
outrageous.
It's that buffalo grass you're talking about, like
Buffalo.
I didn't think. I was wondering. I was like buffalo.
Buffalo's
We got
up here.
buffalo grass up
Yeah,
here.
No, buffalo.
That's not very special.
Buffalo. Yeah.
Buffalo. It's your accent
Buffalo.
from your,
For my heritage.
your lineage.
But you spit because it's so brushy down there. Like, there's some places I don't even know if a rabbit could go in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's miserably
It's
brushy
brushy.
in spots.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's an endangered cat.
So that's how they
species.
live to be 45.
Yeah.
Yes.
They never see
Yes.
sunlight. No, there's an endangered cat species that lives down there called an ocelot. And they say that like ideal habitat for an ocelot is they can travel from point A to point B, and it's so thick that they would never have to touch the ground. They could just crawl on like limbs that are,
Oh wow.
yeah.
Whenever I was on a place in East Texas, and that Yopon would get like that, and I mean, there's just no hope in getting a cow out of it. If she wanted to go in, I mean, she could be as far as we are from each other, and you wouldn't know she was there.
Mm, oh, yeah.
And but we did run some dogs on hogs down there, and that was, that was a whole nother deal. Anyhow, did y'all use dogs down there?
I had a
Zach?
couple guys that used them. Yeah. Every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, we really didn't. They were handy.
What kind of dogs would they use, Zach?
Just curs, black widow.
Yeah. Did they use dogs on the deal you were talking about, the East?
So when I first got there, Fritz Lenny was still there trying to clean it up, and like he'd use his dogs as a cleanup method. So like choppers already flew. We tried to trap stuff out. We know there's still tracks and stuff. Like cool day, we take his dogs, and they were mainly to just like hold them up so we could catch them.
So did you just intern there, or did you go back?
I went back. So I interned, went and finished college. Another place in South Texas, north of Laredo, they hired me. That didn't work very good. I was there for like 8 months. And then Gilly Riojas at East, he had a good deal for me. And I really just wanted to go back to work for him. And I went back to East. Stayed there for a little while.
Yeah.
And it was fun. I mean, I watched that place change a
What's
lot.
that name you said? Gilly?
Gilly. Rio
Is
Ponce.
that the gentleman you were showing me pictures of that you went down maybe a birthday or something last year? Remember you snuck
Want to send you the snap of the kid? Or what are you talking
maybe that same trip. Anyways, it seemed like somebody that you really respected, and you sent me some videos of one of them saying you ain't no cowboy or something. I can't remember. Snapchats. I just didn't know if it's the same guy.
I don't remember.
Yeah. There's a lot of people in your circles that say Dale Brisby ain't no cowboy.
There's a lot of people that like Dale Brisby.
Yeah.
Hey, old son, if you're like me, you eat a lot of steak. I love to cut into a juicy, tender ribeye, cooked medium rare, and it came from the 4-6's Ranch. That's right. You can get your steak from 46steak.com. And for a limited time, now through the end of August, use code DALE and get 15% off on orders that are above $50. There's a link below. All you got to do is click it and go get yourself a ribeye, get a brisket, get whatever you want, old son. You'll be eating like a king, like Dale Brisby. And the odds are that I ranched on that steak, maybe even while I was filming Yellowstone. Well, Taylor Sheridan was filming it, but I was the star of the show. So go to 46steak.com and use code DALE, old son.
So anyways, you're down there. Is that where you're roping these mavericks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tell me about that. Because I don't know if you know, but I've been to Arizona.
I never heard
And
that.
so I'm kind of pretty good cowboy.
Connoisseur
Now.
of
So
catching wild feral cattle.
I'm a little bit of a legend out there.
I bet that's right.
So just ask around. Everybody else.
Hopefully we can make the finals this fall and run into Whip Peterson, and I'll ask him.
Yeah, ask him. Whip
Whip Pop.
Peterson.
That dude is ropey.
Whip Pop.
The Maverick deal. So like inventory management's like probably one of the toughest things about South Texas, just because it is so brushy.
Mm-hmm.
You can't like get a crew to go gather at horseback. But like, I mean, you found out in Arizona, there's a difference between like spoiled cattle and wild cattle,
Yeah,
right? Wild meaning like feral, like never been in a set of pens
right.
ever. And just due to the way East was managed for so long, that way, like I even heard when Robert East bought that ranch on the coast, like he turned a bunch of cattle out and it started raining and they didn't go back for 3 years. Because why? It's raining. They got grass and water. Why go back? And so they got wild there, and that's just part of the deal. Like gathering them twice a year. You'd follow the helicopters. You know, it'd be a 2-week working on that ranch on the coast at Port Mansfield. And I didn't know what I was getting into the first time I went. I just heard stories. And really, the helicopters, they would get up in first light, I guess, once they started flying. Once they got to the backside, they couldn't fly some of that brush because it was so thick. Like there's some live oaks that grew, and like under the live oaks was like other generations of scrub brush, and like they just couldn't get anything done. And so the goal was the helicopters just got up there and fought those maverick cattle from getting back into those oaks, and held on to them long enough for us to get them caught, just to start cleaning the deal up. But yeah, there's that. The first time, you know, Fritz always had his radio and could talk to the pilots. There was always 2 helicopters flying. And I was just following Fritz. Like, whatever he did, that's what we were going to do. And those helicopters were working, fighting stuff back, and I could hear chatter and whatever. And, like, finally, like, we unload, kind of cinch up. Nobody's built the loop yet. We start loping back to the sand dunes. And because like this ranch is on the east fence is the water, and so like you have all that generations of sand blowing in. It's real duney, and it gets kind of open where those dunes have pushed through and like cleared brush, and we're just waiting, and those choppers are working back and forth, and then like they start talking a lot more, and like Fritz gets off, pulls tight. I'm like, cool, I'm gonna get off, I pull tight, and he's just sitting there talking, whatever, and like those choppers are getting closer and closer and closer, and then he ties his horn knot onto his saddle horn, builds his loop, which all of them are 40 foot tied off on the very end.
Yeah.
And He's sitting there talking. Those choppers are getting pretty close. Like you can see other cattle like going right, but the chopper's over here by us, and it's like this big flat, and then like those choppers, like one of them that was fighting whatever it was, like I have no idea what it is. It like disappears below the sand dune that we're hiding behind, and Fritz just like real calm, just turned around and he goes, "Start with the big ones," and that was it. And then before that chopper ever come back up, a band of maverick bulls tops out over that sand dune, and like, I don't know, 6 or 8 of them.
68 of them?
68 maverick bulls.
So many mavericks.
And there's only 6 of us.
And y'all caught all of them.
With 1 loop each.
That's Texas Cowboys right there,
1
baby.
loop each. We roped them all. But no, it was cool. Just every man for himself.
How
And
big were they?
They're all like breeding age bulls, like
Dang.
3, 4 and up. A lot of them were like big 6-year-old bulls that just knew how to play the game. And that was fun. I mean, there's some guys there that weren't there by the time I left, like Fritz Linney, Cody Parr, Gilly was there with us. But guys that still worked there, Cesar Salinas, Timo Rodriguez and his brother Miguel Rodriguez, and then me. And it's just every man for himself. And then like we had a guy with a tractor with a 3-point hitch with a trailer hitch on it, and he would follow us with a stock trailer. It was just a tractor because he could get through the sand, and with a electric winch on the front of it. And there was 2 guys on that rig, and they would just follow us, and we'd tie something down, and they'd pull up. I bumped your mic. They'd pull up and load them, and then hang our tie strings down there. They're tie ropes. Hang their tie ropes on the trailer, and we'd rope until we run out. Find the trailer, lope back, get our tie strings back, go back to it until we kind of got out of that area and the cattle that were going to go went on. And obviously a bunch of them, I mean, we kept messing them, like, or they beat the helicopters or whatever, you know, like if there was an 8-year-old, they were going to stay with him and let the 2-year-old go if they had to pick one, just because like there wasn't enough of us. But there was a lot of that. But even before I got there, I mean, I heard stories about how much worse it was. Like in 2007, when it got transferred from the Robert East family to the estate after he passed, I mean, I heard of like, sometimes they would like, there's a ranch, it's the Buena Vista Ranch, part of East Foundation. It's kind of landlocked behind some bigger ranches. Like the first time they flew it, like they had like 1,500 Mavericks.
Golly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Charles Short started flying for them first, and he said Robert East did not want to start flying because, I mean, it's a change, you know how it is. And the first time they flew that El Sal's Ranch in Port Mansfield, they literally ran out of room. Like they filled the water lots and the pens up and closed the gates and had cattle outside still. I mean, that's just the problem. Like it was like, well, we have 1,000 head on the books. Well, you just threw 2,000 head in the pens and there's just as many outside.
So how long, like how often were you guys out there catching maverick? Just like every day for however long?
Yeah. So like when I was an intern, that's like what we did. So even without flying, we only flew for like the big roundups. But throughout the year, like Timo Miguel, the brothers, which they have a really cool story too, but like Timo would go out and trap cattle every night just to clean the place up. And so like, that's what we did. We'd all meet for breakfast at the kitchen in the morning and we'd figure out who all trapped what where and then go get them. And a lot of times you had to rope them out of the traps or they jumped out. You went and caught them.
That sounds like so much fun. That sounds like the coolest thing.
It was fun for a while and then you got pretty tired of it.
Why? Just kind of like how like doctoring yearlings is fun for a while and then you get tired of it.
Yeah. And then you start wanting to have like a cow herd you can do something with.
Right. The management side gets a little.
They used to have, instead of using trap gates, help me on this, but used to, I think back in the day, they would have kids go sit up in the tree next to a trap. Because like at King Ranch, all the windmills and dirt tanks, you have to have a trap around it. Like they've all got to have a trap and like a loadout and stuff. But used to, they wouldn't use like trap gates or anything, and they would have a kid sit up in a tree and like take him a lunch or something, and would sit up in that tree all
Wait for
night,
him
all
to
day
water.
long, and wait for him to walk in the water, and then he'd run down there and shut the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Seriously.
real.
Timo was still doing that when I got there.
Dang.
Like those cattle were wild. I went with him before.
Yeah.
And like, ride at dark.
If they're that wild, what'd the traps look like?
Well,
Because it would take more than a wire lot, right?
no, they were, but not at.
They'd be
not at
broke
King
to a
Ranch.
fence.
Well, no,
No.
but at
Oh, good
east,
night, no.
at east, those traps had been there so long that all that brush had grown through them, and it was just like a wall of brush. Like if they wanted it, like if you went after them horseback, like they'd find a hole.
Yeah.
But if you're quick enough or like set them up right, you could at least get them from the trap into the pens.
Right.
But like Timo, when he would try to trap cattle that way, when I first got there, like those cattle, you could hear them bawling like they're coming into water right at dark, and like they would get to that gate and stop, and you could hear them like hit the chain, and like as they're smelling the chain from the gate, and like if they smelled you, they wouldn't even come in and get water; they'd leave.
Dang. Like a deer.
Yeah, I mean I made a joke when I got there because the deer were gentle at east, and I said the cattle are literally wilder than the deer here. And they're like, yeah.
Yeah.
But Zach was talking about the trap gates, and like I think Derek uses them too. Like I don't know what he calls them, but like you put a 10-foot hole in your fence, and take a 14-foot gate and cut it in half, and hinge it on each side, and you make a funnel. Did you ever see him, or did you ever talk about him?
I've seen it in Snapchats. I mean, Derek and I, we're best friends. So, we talk about everything. But I just...
Except for trap gates.
Except for trap gates.
Except for trap
because y'all were
gates.
roping them. Who needs trap gates when you can catch them?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm either throwing a loop or,
mugging them.
Hugging them.
No, I've just seen it on his Snapchats.
Yeah, so they're just like that funnel with the spring on top of them, and you may use T-posts or whatever on the outside to like say you keep them open, like 3 foot wide for a while, and get those cattle making a really good trail going in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then once you're ready to start trapping them, you can close those gates, and it's got that funnel where you have that spring where they can push in and it gives.
Mm-hmm.
But once they get through it, it closes back a little bit,
Yeah.
so they can't push out. And so once we started using those, like we really were able to start cleaning a bunch of stuff up.
I mean, what's it like there today? Like, are they cleaned off by now? Oh, they are.
Yeah, I mean, there might be like a long yearling every now
But
and
it's
then.
not going to be like
There's
hundreds of...
No.
Yeah.
No. I think unless they've done it since I left, but I roped the last 2 Maverick cows on the San Antonio Viejo Ranch. And when I did, it was kind of sad, like after we loaded her, because she was old.
Yeah.
I mean, like had huge rings on the bases of her horns, and like,
Yeah.
but it was kind of like, had that epiphany, like that way of life is like over. Like she beat all those other guys and like lived her life. And like, there's poems about
She
like,
didn't beat Zane Herrin.
Zane Herrin, because there was a helicopter, but like Andy Hedges has a poem about like old Maverick cow or something about guys that go to catch her and like never could, and then one guy finally has the jump on her and like pulls up because like why like she deserves to die out here.
Baxter Black has a poem called "The Buckskin Mare."
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like me and my dad could tell it together. If we were together, we could tell it, but it's like 15 minutes long. It's a super long poem, but anyway, it's about same kind of deal, wild horses. But anyhow, I won't spoil the ending. You have to look it up.
we'll Google it.
It meant a lot to us. That's maybe my biggest regret in life. He got me a buckskin mare later. And anyhow, one year I sold her one year. I should have never sold her, but that's my regret is selling that mare. Yeah. Anyway.
I have a buckskin gelding that was special to me, and I sold him. Regretted it, and I got him back. I still have him. He's gonna die with me.
Yeah. This one's probably dead by now. It was a long time ago. I didn't think about just trying to buy her back, but did you have a lot of maverick catching experiences down there, Zach?
Some, not as much, but
Yeah.
yeah, we had some.
Because it was already a little more,
Yeah, it was already,
civilized.
for the most part, cleaned up. Yeah.
yeah. How'd y'all meet?
we meet at a King Ranch Institute deal?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, but I wasn't at the program yet. I was just with East still. I was just there at the function, right?
That I don't
remember.
remember.
So,
I thought you were.
maybe there's through A&M Kingsville down there. When King Ranch turned 100 years old, they wanted to give back to like invest in the future of the industry. And they put up a bunch of money and got some partners and founded the King Ranch Institute for Ranch Management, which is it's a master's program. You get a master's of science in ranch management. But part of that program also, they do some like extension type work, like educational events, like held at the college there. And like they have like some accounting events or like equine management, HR stuff, or like real estate law. And King Ranch is big on sending their guys there to like just develop their leaders too. And I don't remember if I was at East and went to one of the events or if I was already at school there, but bumped into him and like I'd heard about him, like he was famous. I knew who he was. And like really though, like when a guy like Zach moves to South Texas, like everybody talks about it because
he's a white,
Because I'm a white guy from West Texas, or the Panhandle.
and they didn't think you were white.
Correct.
Yep,
Correct. Yeah.
classic mix up. Our Doug is a white.
There's a white guy down
So
here.
did you go through the King Ranch Institute?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't go through that.
You were just there
No.
because you were working there.
Yeah, I just went there because I was getting my certificate.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a
The
certificate,
certificate
program.
of what is it?
I don't remember. Capital Farm Credit
Yeah,
sponsored a deal, and like if you went to so many of those learning events, they would give you a certificate of excellence in ranch management or
advanced
something.
ranch management
Yeah.
or something.
Nice.
Yeah, and so King Ranch likes sending their guys to get that. And that's where I met Zach.
Who did you go through the TCU ranch management deal that I would know?
Oh man, there was a whole slew of us. That
when?
was a pretty cowboy type class. Like
Except
there was
for
a lot of except for me.
What year did you go through?
14, 15. I was with Park and Gage and Heath Cox and
Cowboys.
Kibbos.
horse trainers.
Well, Gage. I don't know about Park, but
Yeah, that was pretty
Speak for
good.
yourself.
I think we were the first class.
I'm just a little sour. He just hurt my feelings at the cattle raisers deal. We won't get into it.
That's where I met you for the first
I
time.
missed that.
And cattle raisers?
No, when I was at TCU, when we were having the winter meeting.
Oh yeah,
Get
when I
together?
came to that one
You
deal.
came to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've known a few people that went through there. My dad went through it in the 80s, him and my uncle. Yeah.
There's a lot of guys. There's more than you think.
Yep.
It's a good network.
Deal.
It's a network.
I mean,
That's what it is. That's for sure. So, you've been getting on bucking horses how long, Zach?
How long?
Yeah.
How many years?
Well, I mean, since when?
Add up all the 8-second rounds.
Add up all.
and tell
That's
us.
a bit a lot.
Did you start in high school?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I was 18, a senior when I got on my first one.
Charlie Thompson?
Yeah, I got on them at Charlie's. That's where I started.
C-Bar T?
I got on my first 20 at Charlie's.
Oh,
That's
nice.
my first buckle I ever won in the ranch bronc riding was at Charlie's Winter Series.
At the Winter Series?
Yep, and I rode all 20 of them in a slick fork saddle and
Dang.
taps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cowboy.
Dang.
Yeah. That was in I'm going to tell my age. That was in the winter of 03,
Oh, gotcha.
03, 04.
Dang. And you get on the bucking horse for the sixes. How long you been here?
Almost 5 years. 5 years, July.
Dang.
Yeah, it's a record.
Longest place you've ever been.
Yeah, about like two years.
Yeah. How long you been here, Zane?
3 years.
Dusty hire you?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you meet him?
Oh, huh?
You're welcome.
I know. Zach set it up, and Zach and Park, they kind of hooked me and Dusty up.
Nice.
I think the first time I met Dusty was at Park's wedding.
Hmm.
He probably wouldn't remember it. I introduced myself to him at the hotel the next morning, and then kind of stayed in touch and with Park and Zach, and let me know what was going on up here. And I think Park vouched for me a lot with Dusty when stuff started happening.
How do you know Park?
I've known of Park for a long time. Me and Park have a shared mutual friend in Shot Branham, the old cowpuncher horse trainer from West Texas.
Yeah, NFR team roper too.
You know, the guy that wore his chinks, shotgunned his boots at the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. Cowboy. He is. He's cool. But I think I got to know him better down there when I was down there. I mean, he was still a few hours away.
Would he do a podcast?
Shot?
Yeah.
I bet if you got Park and my brother and myself to talk him into it,
yeah,
he may need a little encouragement.
Some ranch fuels.
You could say that.
Like that.
Yeah.
A different kind of fuel that ranchers use.
Yeah, that
Liquid encouragement.
that rhymes with och.
Wait, what?
Scotch.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
He's got some good stories of some.
I thought you were going to say he's got some good scotch.
I don't know,
Boy,
when he was starting some wild colts when he was young.
Oh, really?
Like some that he had to lay his saddle on the ground and roll his colts into the saddle
Oh, dang.
to cinch him up and then let him up and then get on. Yeah.
Where and what part of y'all's lives do you feel like you learned the most about horsemanship? In what phase of your life?
I would say when I was right at a couple years out of high school, I was at Pitchforks. I left Pitchforks in the bunkhouse and went to work for Curtis Bass and Seymour. He was kind of the big 2-year-old man at the time in NCHA, and I worked for him for a couple of years. That was probably the biggest point in my life where I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I still use a lot of that today.
Yeah. What about you?
Man, I grew up trying to riding horses like team roping. Like I team roping junior high and stuff.
Mm.
But as far as like making one, it was after high school. I traded with Shot, and I got a 4-year-old from him. And he'll tell you, when I went to try heel horses at Shots, he had that horse tied up and was not wanting anybody to ride him, but he's a pretty little buckskin. I'm like, let me get on him. He's like, he's green. I'll try him. We ended up buying him. And that horse taught me a lot. I guess just from Shot's training. I don't know. Shot said he was green, but me and him got along. And by the time I went to Tarleton, I was turning down a lot of money for him, healing and stuff. But
what was his name? The horse?
The horse, Festus.
Do you have him for a while?
Still have him.
Oh, do you?
He's the buckskin. Yeah, so he got really cool. And when I was down south, I was telling myself I didn't need him anymore. Took him to a World Series, and Chris Francis, he's won the BFI. Mm-hmm. He's from New Mexico. He liked him. We made a trade. And by the grace of God, Chris sold him back to me. And he'll never, ever be sold again.
Dang.
I still have him. He looks terrible. He's old, but he's here. But really, once I got to East and had nothing for a mount, I just had to make my own. And Fritz he knows a little bit down there. I mean, he's well respected for making ranch horses down there. And I picked up some stuff from him. But really, I just messed up a bunch before I started making some that I liked.
Yeah.
And I would say my horsemanship's come a lot further being here. I mean, learning from like how to get one to hook up to a cow from Zach, and how to get one to bridle up from Dusty, how to get one to ranch from Gene.
How to just be an overall cow hand from Dale Brisby.
From Dale Brisby.
Yeah.
Especially after today.
Yeah.
Roping baby calves.
We got the cows gathered. I know.
And then some.
Wakefield likes to say that I'm the kind of guy that let a cow get by me, but Not today, buddy.
Not these cows.
Yeah, not these cows and not today. Where were we the other day? Where? What about your overall just cowboying? Where do you feel like in the phases of y'all's lives that you've learned the most, advanced the most, grown the most?
Yeah, you go first.
My brother and I, we thought we were cowboys growing up because we had some cows, but I left home and realized that we were not.
Yeah, that's what I realized.
Still not.
Still not.
A lot of places, a lot of times in my life.
Oh man, like I'm the worst cowboy here, still, but I picked up a lot of stuff, through the people I met in college and even the guys that like we would help some in high school. But those cows at East taught me a lot about cattle handling because they were flighty and rude, and I mean, some were wild, some were spoiled. Like, you could learn a lot about a cow's flight zone and how to manipulate them and move them by those. And being down there that long, I learned a bunch there. But then
I clipped a thing that Cole Hatfield said. Just the way he said it was funny, and he's always said it, but just like that he hates black cows.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it on Facebook, and Facebook has got to be just the most negative place for social media. Something about it. Just everybody wants to weigh in on, I don't know, it's weird. But Instagram doesn't seem to be like that. TikTok doesn't seem to be like that. Anyhow, and some people were just like, and what he said was no passion.
yeah,
Black cows, I mean, we know Cole, like, hardest working guy there is. Nobody's, ain't no grass growing underneath him.
no, that guy's fast.
He moves fast. And I very much appreciated it as a cowboy, like just his thought process behind why he doesn't like black cows. And there's always exceptions to the rules. There's crazy we caught some black cows in Arizona. Of course but for the most part, they're real slow and they're real, they're not going to trot like a Hereford might. And anyway, just the negativity came from that. I was talking to Derek about it on his podcast, and he was like, I was like, yeah, all these people are commenting that that's why I'm a cattleman, not a cowboy. And he cut me off immediately. He was like, well, yeah, you're not a cowboy because you can't learn anything with the black cow. And I thought that was an interesting take on both their parts. And I get it. Like, there's plenty of, but we're on the topic of cowboying. We all appreciate the efficiency of how a ranch should be run. And you want cows to be gentle. Of course, we're here. We're doing that. We hold them up after we get done, after we turn them out. We'll hold them up a while. But, yeah, just the nuanced cowboy side of wanting to get to the pins a little, keep things going. I don't know. I respect that. And the main reason I just said all that was basically to share how Derek said the same thing you're saying, that those cows that trot and run off and are wild and mavericks, something that's maybe never seen a human, like, that's where you really can learn the behavior of a cow.
Oh yeah. Because like those, like, even if you're trying to drive some or pin them or whatever, like here, if a cow like shoots out the herd, you would have time to like put your gloves back on and lope around her and bend her back into the herd.
Yeah.
But like down there, if she like took one step out of the herd, you were not going to turn her and put her back in the herd.
Yeah.
And so like, I've described it to my brother when I was down there. It's like here, once the herd comes together and you're driving them like we did, after we got them through the gate and cow pasture up to the pens, like, you are driving one unit. It is the herd. But down there, you still have, it's just a whole bunch of little individuals and they happen to be in the same place. But like, you can't treat it as like a herd. Like you're just trying to have all those cows go the same way. And like,
Right.
if one looks the wrong way, like you got to be right now, step to her.
Yeah.
And here it's like if she turns around, like
The general public that was commenting on our film of catching mavericks in Arizona, like that was like, why are y'all roping them? Why are y'all like, why not just, it's just like, it's impossible.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
you're not
No
going to
other
drive
option.
them. There's no
There's
hold up.
no other option.
Yeah.
You either put them on the end of this rope or you ain't taking them home.
Mm-hmm.
But did y'all tie any to trees?
Rarely.
I mean, you wouldn't have to if the tractor and trailer were right there close.
Right.
So would you lead them immediately?
Lead them? No, we'd knock them down. And they tied them like different than anybody I've ever seen up here. But we would tie them there, and it was kind of long. And like they could almost stand up, but they could lay just like if they were laying under a tree chewing their cud. They could be there
that's
all
how they
day.
would. That's how they would time that, like maybe two fronts.
Well, so they use like you'd buy
Both
like
fronts.
a big spool of like thick nylon rope,
Mm-hmm.
not like nylon catch rope, but like the soft.
Yeah.
And you always tie Hondas in them, and so you'd make a loop, and so you'd put your loop around a front leg, but between the hoof and the dew claw, because they said they wouldn't mess up their circulation right there. And you would run it to the opposite back leg, wrap it around that back leg, pull it to where you had about a foot.
Like a double half hitch or something?
Yeah, a foot between the two. And so you would wrap it around, so it'd come around the leg, back around the rope coming from the front foot, and then around the leg again. And so it made a loop that sucked it tight. Does that make sense? And then you put a half hitch on that one and then run it to the other back leg. Do the same thing and then just put a bunch of half hitches in it. And so the back legs are really close together with about a foot between the front and the back. And they could waddle around or do whatever, but like they weren't going to get hot.
Yeah.
They'd be there for however long it needed to. But like sometimes like if we tried to like ambush stuff, I mean kind of like y'all did, like in the evening, like sneak out to the old lagunas or playa lakes or whatever and just go catch them. Like it was going to get dark before we could get back to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we tied a few to trees or something.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess you're probably a lot more accessible with a trailer down there.
Yeah. So like if you're in such thick brush that you couldn't get to them, like you would hopefully trail them till you got to a clear spot or just not catch them.
Right.
Like hoping there was sometimes there was a bull we always tried to catch like the first 2 years I was there, and he just knew he could get in the thickest, nastiest stuff, and we could get to him horseback.
Did they all pretty much have horns?
Yeah,
I'm just picturing them with
pretty
horns.
much all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're all red.
Yeah.
Look like a Santa Gertrudis, but they're probably inbred or crossbred or whatever. But like this bull had a name, it's El Diablo.
Oh dang.
Like we knew him, and like we tried him with dogs, the helicopters. Like we just could never get a rope on him, and he knew how to always go back and forth between us and our neighbor.
Yeah.
And the last time we run him, he ended up on the neighbors. Dang. And he don't work there no more. They didn't catch him though. They caught him with some lead.
Dang. What because El Diablo is just like he'll eat your children.
Yeah.
You know.
The boogeyman.
What are all those skulls from on your front porch? Just mavericks that you find out there, deadheads?
A couple of them might be deadheads, but most of them are like stuff that we caught. And so like say we got them caught and loaded, took them back to the pens for the working, which would have lasted 3 days. Most of them might have a heart attack and die.
They just can't stand humans.
Yeah, they've never been locked
They
up
break
before.
down. I had some break down.
Yeah, so
And their front feet would just get like that, and they just sit there and just shake.
yeah, and then sometimes like their back feet, like their hooves would roll and point up. Did you see some of that? They call it buckling.
We didn't have any do that out there, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they buckle or
I've seen it on the Radiator.
the Radiator Ranch.
That's what some people call Radiator Ranch. The Radiator.
the Radiator.
Trying to start that up, Donnie. Life's cheap on the Radiator. It's apt to get a whole lot cheaper. That Chigger's holding up the game.
Sugar holding up the game.
We're quoting a movie here.
Let's gamble.
Let's gamble. Dang.
Yeah, some of them just can't take society.
Yeah.
They've been wild for so long.
Yeah. Well,
Finally get them caught and they just are done.
one of the only muleys I roped out there, he did that before I even had him knocked down. I didn't choke him out, but before I knocked him down, he died.
Dang.
And like
So-
you try to jump on their ribs and stuff to like resuscitate them, but
Are these cows that we're around today, like stuff like this most well-behaved herd of cows probably y'all been around?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, even the heifers, like they've only been, I mean, how many times have they been gathered? Like nothing ran off.
Yeah. Like some of them cows down there, they were so wild and would get mean that then we had to do this a few times. After we had them, you had to catch them to take them from one pen to the next. They'd be on the hook or be so mad.
or use
Like,
a tractor.
You had
or
to catch them
small
to go
pen.
from pen to pen.
Yeah, like once they're in the pens.
Oh yeah, once they're in the pens, yeah, you'd have to catch her here to put her over here.
Yeah.
Dang.
They'd get so mad. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
They said at East before I got there, once they got in the pens, they got foot because you didn't want a horse in there with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to do
Bet.
that. Yeah, especially with the bulls.
Sharp horns.
Yeah, because obviously they're not tipped. That was what was impressive to me about Arizona was how, I mean, the yearlings, I mean, that's whatever. The smaller bulls, a lot of the cows, like especially the smaller cows, like they are what they are. Just get them roped and lead them here or there. Still wild because of the terrain, like the mountain and then the rocks and the footing, like still wild. Don't get me wrong. But the way all those guys out there would take to, because they want the biggest, like you said, catch the big ones, start with the big ones. Yeah, everybody wants the big ones. And so those bulls are just powerful and really sharp horns. And the way that all those guys, Derek and Wawa and Brandon and Whip and all of them would handle those big bulls and just take to them. And you can't miss, and then you had to have, your horses had to be gas enough to get out of the way, obviously.
That's what some people don't consider, but like when I started doing that, like you got to put a lot of faith in your horse.
Oh my gosh.
Because once you get close enough to where you can hang it on them,
They're turning around.
they're trying to stop and hook you.
Yeah.
And like you got to hope that your horse will rate or at least get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's, when at the beginning of that film, not Whip, I'm sorry, Slade, he rides saddle bronc horses. Yeah, Slade Keith. He took to a big bull, and I saw this bull coming, and I was on Birdman, and Birdman was a tired cow pony. Like he was not. It was at the end of the day. Donnie had actually ridden him the day before to film off of, so he's 2 days in a row.
Extra tired.
He's extra tired, and I was like, "This horse is about to get killed." And so I did try to go in whenever Slade's horse got hooked. He never lost his footing, but I was on my way. But as far as catching that big bull, I was like, "Man, I'm gonna have a dead horse."
Yeah.
Like guaranteed, because Birdman's done. And what sounds fun about what you're talking about is that, you're so close to, I mean, we had to drive so far out there, 14-hour drive to Arizona, number one, but then you're 3 hours from the road, tiny mountain road. All you can take is a 16-foot trailer, and you run out of horse. Like you're done. But you guys could just go get a fresh horse every night.
Yeah. But the helicopter was bringing us the cattle. Like,
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah. And like at King Ranch, a lot of those roads were paved. Really? Paved ranch road. Just because it's so wet.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them were
That's
paved.
so fun. Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
less fun when we didn't have the load crew. That was not as fun. We started trying to. Make
You
a
got to
little bit more
load
money.
each one.
Yeah, like you get done roping, then you got to go back.
Right.
And then those were longer days.
Dang, you got a
Loading the
load
dark and
crew
stuff.
too. You got roads in and out of there. You got a load crew,
We didn't have a load crew.
helicopter. Dang.
We had a different workforce.
How many total
different
Mavericks do you think you caught? Like if you had to put a guess on the
I
number.
don't have any idea.
Like 7-ish?
Like maybe 2.
Yeah, 7 or 8, 78.
Yeah, 7 or 8. I don't know. Not as many as a lot of guys down there. There's some
Yeah.
guys that are wicked down there that people north of I-10 have never heard of.
Yeah.
I mean, like wicked.
Oh, I bet.
The weeks, taking cold weeks are nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, Fritz was really good, and Cody Parr and a bunch of guys. Like there's some guys that sure enough do it. The Oxfords, y'all have probably seen videos. Like there's guys that rope them out of Jeeps.
Mm.
They're tied to like the roll cage on their Jeep, and they rope those big bulls. Like when they're catching like 80 of them a day.
Yeah.
We didn't ever do it, but
Yeah. Yeah, good cowboys are good cowboys. Whether you're in Texas or Arizona or
yeah, the cultural differences don't negate ability.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Rock and roll denim is what Dale Brisby uses to spur his bucking bulls. I get the reflex. Gives me the mobility I need to be the cowboy I am. So go to rockandrolldenim.com, old son. Total Feeds is what keeps the herd powered here at Radiator Ranch. And Total Equine is what I've been giving Boone for 10 years. He's 24 years old and still going strong. You can get it on chewy.com or a dealer near you. Hey, old son, if you're not feeding every morning with a Can-Am side-by-side, then you ain't no cowboy. I got a Can-Am because I needed a reliable ranch rig that I could use every day because I don't know how to work on stuff like that. So I want something that's not going to break down ever. Get yourself a Can-Am, old son.
What all do you miss about down there? Or is that the big one, catching Mavericks?
I mean, that was fun. Roping that was fun.
I guess I'm just kind of curious, like what are other big differences from down there than up here?
I miss those brothers, Timo McGill bunch. So like,
Yeah.
they were my version of Boots for Dusty.
Gotcha.
Those two brothers. I mean, they were like born in a cave in Mexico. They're
Like for real?
for real. They're like 75 and 70 years old, more or less, right now. And they came. Miguel came when he was 19 years old,
That's wild.
and he goes home for a few weeks at a time to see his family and comes back. He does that a few times a year,
Yeah.
and they're still there. They're going to retire this year, I think. I'm going to go down and see him. I miss those guys. I mean, there's some good people down there too. I miss a lot of those my friends from down there. But some good Mexican food,
I bet there's
Good Mexican food.
seafood, good seafood.
from your homeland.
Good seafood.
My homeland, yes. Sí.
Yeah. See. Bueno.
Donde está la biblioteca?
Nah, I can't go past Bueno. Maybe a little bit of hola.
That's what Dusty says. Hola, mijo.
He calls you mijo.
No, like I talked to Miguel on the phone, and Dusty overheard me. He goes, "Hola, mijo."
What are some of the big differences in ranch in day to day down there, Zach?
Helicopter for one,
Yeah.
and the amount of days it takes to work one pasture. Like down there, it may take you a week. You may spend 2 months branding, but you only do a pasture a week. Like you might spend 2 or 3 days trapping it, and then what you don't trap, you might fly. Use the helicopters. We would use 3 helicopters at a time, and then you'd gather it. And then some of them big pastures, we might have 600 head in there.
Dang.
500 to 600 head. Some of them pastures were 20-something thousand acres.
Yeah.
And so you would gather them in a big trap and then let them sit and rest because, I mean, it's middle of summer. But we had spring and fall herd down there. And then, so, I mean, you would let them sit and then gather that trap. Some of those traps you have to gather with a helicopter. And then you drive them up these driving lanes. Might be a mile or 2 to the pens for some of them.
How wide?
Oh,
It depends.
Yeah, it
would
just
be,
depends.
It would be 50 yards wide. Some of them be 100 yards wide.
Just depends.
They kick your butt in those wide ones, though.
But you'd get them to the pins, and then by the time, like the way those guys strip, they would strip down the snake, like we were talking a while ago. But then some of it I would try and do it horseback, as much horseback as I could. But that might take most of the day. Mm-hmm. So you would strip, work the herd, cut the dries, and then leave the calves stripped overnight, wake up first thing the next morning, then brand that day, and then turn them back out.
Dang.
But there might be, like on a good day, 7 guys was a big crew for me. So we would like run them through a calf table.
Oh yeah,
those big herds, like if there was a couple hundred head, we would flank them, but we'd drag them. But them big herds, we'd wear everybody out. Cowboys, horses.
That's a big difference I never thought of before. Is you do a lot with a small crew.
Yeah,
really.
Mm-hmm. Like you don't. Like we didn't hire that much day help.
Really?
We didn't hire no day. They didn't no day help. We didn't neighbor like the other divisions. Once or twice they come over, but outside of that, no. It was that division. There would be 6 or 7 of us.
67. That's a big crew.
No, that's pretty little.
67 is a lot of people.
I knew this was coming.
It was just like a dozen today.
Yeah,
for us.
Yeah.
Here.
6 to 8.
67 people. Golly.
It's like a Great Basin, Brandon.
So there's no way y'all got to head and tail them. I mean, head and heel them.
No, not those big herds.
Did they just flank down there?
Yeah, we did. At where I was at, we did.
Yeah.
And it took
Is there
a while.
anywhere in Texas that they head and heel them? I wouldn't know where.
Not to the extent that like the Montana and Nevada guys do. I don't think. Unless it's like a Maverick.
It just gets too hot. It's too hot.
Mm-hmm.
Is it not miserable hot down there?
Oh,
in the summer?
Sweated through my leggings.
Dang. That's pretty warm.
You could walk out at like 5 in the morning, and by the time you got to your pickup, you were sweating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I made that mistake when I was running the crew. I was like, we're going to wake up early. Those guys, like, they were like, we start at 7 and we're done at 5, day in and day out. I'm like, no, we're working a big herd. We're branding calves tomorrow morning. We're going to be waiting on the sun. Like, our fires are going to be going. We were going to be waiting on it. Worst mistake I ever made. Way too humid. You need like 9 o'clock, the breeze would pick up. And like, we were dying between 6 and 9 o'clock.
Really?
Too humid.
Dang.
Yeah. Didn't do that again.
Dang. Yeah.
Not 69 o'clock. 6 to 9 o'clock.
Yeah. But of course. Well, what's your favorite Dale Brisby video?
All of them.
All of them. You're trying to think. Zane doesn't even watch them.
I'm actually.
You didn't even know I had a
listen to the
podcast.
No, I
You didn't
didn't.
even know I
I'm
had
like,
a
Zane, did you watch this one? No, not yet.
I
Watch
liked
this one? No.
I liked Cole's a bunch.
Cole's podcast? Yeah.
I liked the kind of the cowboy testimony type vibe.
Yeah. You should listen to Jake Cooker's.
I did. That was good.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
I saw it came out, but
You been busy or what?
You just seen it come out.
It's been over a week.
I was in Guthrie all week. Brandon calves.
Guthrie all week. What other ones have you listened to?
J.R. Zane. J.R. Zane.
Oh, yeah.
That was money. I mean, that's older.
Yeah.
Like Gringos. I mean, all the recent ones.
So, 2. I think I've had 200, but...
What's Clay Reed?
Yeah, that was funny.
I died listening to that one. That was funny.
Yeah, he was funny. I need to do another one with Clay Reed. Clay, if you're out there, give me a shout. We'll do a round 2. Yeah. What about you? What's your favorite podcast of mine that I've done?
Podcast? Man, they've all been pretty good.
Yeah.
Really? Like even what's the one with Larry the Cable Guy?
Oh, man, he was so fun. Yeah, Dan
he was pretty
Whitney. He was so fun.
The
He's
Cowpuncher
cool.
series, they've all been good. Because all those guys, a lot of those guys, that's who I grew up around and who I've learned from. So it's really neat to hear some of that stuff.
Wakefield was maybe the first
Except
one.
for Wakefield.
Yeah. We just kind of had to get all the kinks out.
You
know
learn
I'm
what
saying?
not to do.
Right. Yeah.
That guy.
No, he was the first, and I sometimes I'll put next to their name a description, and so I was trying to describe him so anyone who was clicking on the podcast would know, and so I put Texas Cowpuncher, and it turned into the Texas Cowpuncher series. But regardless, my point in saying that is that I'm not opposed at all to other states' cowboys. I happen to live in Texas, and
Got to start somewhere.
you guys are my friends, like. But I mean, Derek McGay is an Arizona cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not opposed to other states' cowboy. It'd be cool to talk to somebody like on the East Coast, maybe some like a Florida cracker or something,
Yeah.
and maybe somebody in Louisiana. Remember, was it down in Beaumont? They float those cattle across. I think it's in Beaumont, down in that area where they go on that barge, or no, they swim them.
Swim them.
Swim. That's interesting. I'm interested in cowboy things.
Cowboy things.
Cowboy things.
Cowboy or just cowpuncher?
Being the
'Cause it's the cowpuncher series. Are you gonna get a buckaroo on here?
I don't mind talking to a buckaroo. Yeah. Get a flat hatter.
I got a buddy in Nevada.
You got a buddy in Nevada?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Joe?
Yep. He general manager. Is it the biggest ranch in the U.S.?
Oh, that I don't know.
Wine Cup Gamble. It's over 1 million acres.
I don't know.
He's cool.
He'd be a good one.
Yeah, he's fun.
If you wanted to do a
Yeah.
Northern series.
Yeah, he's fun.
See, I'm down for that.
Yeah.
100%. But Nevada's a long drive. So, if he's in Texas.
What about Wyoming?
That's a long drive too.
Tyler Gardner would be fun too.
Yeah, he would.
That guy.
He'd be good.
That's a good person.
Yeah.
That's my dude.
So, anyhow, well, thank y'all for your suggestions. Thank you for your stories. We usually wrap up with life advice. Ooh, or here, you guys are good buddies. You know each other. Tell a secret on each other.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
So no life advice, just a secret.
No, we're going to do the life advice also.
What do you know about me?
I don't know any secret.
What is something that Zane does that gets on your nerves?
Oh, that's easy.
Oh, yeah, just looks at me.
Live. Be alive. Is that right?
What
Exist.
What does Zach do that gets on your nerves?
Stands taller than him.
Yeah.
Into the mic. I want everybody to hear this. Finally, next, y'all are gonna fight.
Yeah, I don't need to start nothing right now.
Don't start none, won't be none. No, I appreciate you being the guinea pigs for the dual Texas Cowpuncher podcast. There's been some suggestions on duos, and I know you guys were buddies, and the whole Zach Zane, and you each have brothers, Zayn and Zack. So that's what made me. I was like, we got to start there.
So next time you're gonna have to get my brother and his brother on there.
That would be quite.
They really don't know each other very good, but
Yeah.
big personalities, both of them.
Oh yeah, life advice. What do you got?
Learn to watch so you can watch to learn. I think it's a good one. Always watch.
Yeah,
Watch other people do little things.
yeah.
Just keep your eyes.
What have you learned from me?
Dang. Not a lot.
If we ever join in on like a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, I want to be on your team.
Yeah, that'll be good.
What's your life advice?
You don't want to be on my
Zane?
team, I promise. I'm not one to give out life advice. Die to yourself every day.
What does that mean?
For me, it's every day I have to remind myself that I belong to Christ and not myself, and try to serve Him by putting others first. Which I don't think it's wrong to have your own goals and hopes and aspirations by any means. I mean, He gives you those desires. But I just genuinely try to put other people first, and to live as Christ and to die as gain. And I just try to die to myself and take up my cross daily and follow him. That's my little tidbit.
That the way you worded that reminded me, a buddy of mine said, we're each the hero in our own stories. Like everything, we give ourselves the most excuses. We pat ourselves on the back the most. And in any situation, we are each our biggest hero in that story. And that's what I like. I like the way you worded it. It seems like a good follow-up to that thought process. Yeah. I think humility is pretty important in our walks. I think it's a much bigger deal. I don't want to blame the church. I was going to say than what the church has made it, but maybe I just haven't been paying attention my entire life, and the church has made it a big deal. So maybe I need to take some responsibility there. But I think that humility is a big deal, and I think that pride is the opposite of that. And that's why I love coming here. All you guys are so humble. It's because sometimes cowboys and being in the rodeo world, the rodeo is no different. And sometimes, cowpunchers can get that way, but like pride can sometimes, ego can sometimes keep a guy from having like really true relationships, And I don't know, getting to be such good friends with all you guys. Like that is the trait that I put a pin on as to like what attracts me, and I think everybody to just this whole crew is just all of y'all's humility. It's so easy to just exist around y'all. Like I don't feel like I have to. Both you two and everybody on the crew. Like I don't feel like I have to like. I don't know. Try to prove myself all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway. I guess what I'm saying is, it sounds like I believe that that's your life advice, and it sounds like that you take your own advice every morning. So, was that a compliment? Did
Thank
I
you.
compliment him?
That's the first time Dale Brisby has ever complimented me.
What is with me today? Must be these ranch fuels.
Feeling generous.
They give you fuel to ranch. They also make you nice, apparently.
Nice.
Stop drinking
Better
that.
stop drinking it.
Yeah. But if you want to drink
Yikes.
it, use code Dale.
That was a terrible pitch.
Was that? Should I?
This will make you do things you don't want to.
Donnie, edit that plug out at the end. It was. I think we had a moment. Our brims almost touched.
Well, they did earlier.
Ooh.
That whole left knee and the neck thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that calf really got the best of me. I'm not gonna lie.
Difficult to
Yeah,
throw the 7 under bit on that ear.
yeah. On to the next one. Thanks, guys. Donnie, I believe we're done. Pow pow. Thanks, guys, for listening. Check out rodeotime.com, Olson.